See, 150,000 farms have shut down, and working farmland has been reduced by 21 million acres. The system has been crippling the remaining farmers, forcing some to adopt nefarious farming techniques, like pumping hormones and other performance-enhancing drugs into their cows so they can survive in crammed feedlots. Or the farmers are forced to jump ship and sell to land-hoarding, profit-chasing agricultural oligarchies, who use their billions of dollars to crush the competition and increase your family's dependence on their manufactured food. What could possibly go wrong? The family farm will soon be a thing of the past, unless you do something. You can. That's why there's From the Farm, an industry-disrupting platform that connects consumers directly with local farmers, which means you can buy fresh, non-factory farm food, and you'll know exactly where your food came from and how it was raised. For the first time in nearly 100 years, independent farms will have a way to not only survive, but thrive. From the Farm was founded by A.J. Richards, an active homesteader, and Brooke Ents, a CrossFit Games athlete and an Amazonian warrior in the movies Wonder Woman and Justice League. She clearly has a passion for healthy food and a healthy lifestyle. And since both AJ and Brooke come from generations of ranchers and farmers, they know what they're talking about. We can't do this alone. We need the strength of the American people behind us. Help us build a new food system that combines the wisdom of the past with the technology of the future. Investing in From the Farm isn't just a financial decision. It's an investment into our future, our small family farms, and our food sovereignty. Invest today.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another week of From the Farm Live Q&A. As a reminder, if you've never joined me before on this deal, we're running through StreamYard, so I'm currently broadcasting live across all social media platforms, both my personal and From the Farm. So as you're joining the show, however long you decide to hang out, I can answer questions for you. Tonight, we're going to focus on America becoming a net food importer. That'll be our topic that we're going to discuss tonight. So let me just open up with this clip here.
Fourth generation farmer. In fact, we sell our produce right across the street here at the Eastern Market. How will your administration, after seeing what we went through after COVID and the important respect to domestic food production, help the American farmer to survive the increasing inflationary costs of doing business in global competition?
Yeah, well, thanks for the question, Robert. And, one thing you probably know, Robert, because you're a farmer, but a lot of people don't realize, and this is maybe the scariest statistic of the last few years, is that America just last year became a net importer of food. What that means is that we grow less food than our people consume, which makes us reliant on other people for the very food that we feed our children. I think that's very, very dangerous. And part of the reason is because we've made it so hard on our farmers. Now,
so America is now just for the first time a net importer of food. And as JD was mentioning, we don't grow enough to feed our own population. Now, I've also read that we waste about 40 to 50% of the food we grow. So there's a chance that in a scenario, we would have enough food if we readjusted how that food was dispersed. But that is a challenge. One of the reasons that, if you remember during COVID, a lot of farmers and ranchers were talking about having to cull their herds or dump millions of gallons of milk or produce in the fields. And that was because the system that's is designed with so much efficiency that if they have to pivot, it's much harder to do. You also still have to deal with certain regulations. So here you are with a tanker of milk. Why can't they just open the tap and let people come and grab it? I think in many cases, those producers would have rather done that, but because of regulations, they can't. So now, in a worst case scenario, regulations aside, you're going to do what you have to do to eat. But the fact that we are a net importer of food is a scary thought. I've covered some of these statistics in the past, but if you haven't been here before, here's some. I'm going to share them again. So back in the 1930s, we had more than 6.8 million farms in America. And since then, we're down to 1.8 or less. That's just the fact of where we're at. Now, some people may say, okay, well, what led to that? A lot of things led to this. And it is political, but it's political on both sides. Decisions being made on both sides of the aisle that have ultimately led us to the position we're in. So, for example, in 1980s, Reagan changed the antitrust laws that have led to what now is 4 major corporations controlling all of our food. In the 1960s, sometime after World War II, that was in the 70s, 60s, end of 60s and 70s, you had the get bigger, get out movement, where they said, if you don't grow your farms to large corporate farms, and if you see me looking over, by the way, I'm checking comments on Instagram, but we're going to get rid of the small family farms and we're going to move to large corporate farms because we have equipment to maximize those farms. And we need more labor in factories. And in fact, this is a quote from the CED, the Center of Economic Development. The movement of people from agriculture has not been fast enough to take full advantage of the opportunities that improving farm technologies and increasing capital create. The CED proposed an adaptive approach to utilize positive government action to facilitate and promote movement of labor and capital where they will be most productive. The goal was to remove 1/3 of farmers off farms in 5 years. So our federal government has been working directly against our small family farms, which has led to these declines. And so, I have talked to people that sometimes put the blame back on farmers. And these are people who have no idea what they're talking about, that it's their own fault. It's their own inability to manage their finances. But the reality is, when you look behind the curtain, the people behind pulling the strings behind the curtain have set it up so that farmers couldn't succeed in many cases. Yes, supporting local keeps us healthy. Exactly. So now we're in a position where in the United States, we have 87 million head of inventory, all cows and heifers that have calved totaled 37 million. So 87 million total cows in our country, and 37 million of them are cows and heifers that have had calves. So not a lot. Just not a whole lot of food left in America, folks. That's why we're having this conversation. It's not fun, but it is the reality. So, with this centralized food systems, people looking for maximizing efficiency and profit over sustainability, meaning sustaining our people's food supply, we now find ourselves in a very vulnerable position with only a few people pulling the strings and making the decisions. We also have a significant increase in environmental impact because now we're transporting food long distances because we're importing so much food. There was a study done around 2018, 2019 that said the average food miles then was 1,500 miles. And that was like food as a whole, like they just averaged everything. But now there's evidence that I would imagine that with the increase of imported foods, those food miles have gone up quite significantly. Now, I'll also say, we'll get into good news here pretty quickly. So there's also an erosion of local agriculture. So somebody mentioned here on Instagram that supporting local keeps us all healthy. Yes, not only does supporting local keep us healthy, but supporting local also ensures that local is still there when we need local. I think that's a value that gets overlooked, right? We compare a lot of our food, and I'm in the same camp. It's been a long process for us to transition from grocery store food to buying the majority of it from the producers. So I get it. I'm in that camp. But what helped us get there was understanding realizations of different caliber, of different areas, benefits of different areas. So food, rather than in the beginning, food, the transition for us went from food to fill our bellies to, okay, let's look at food to provide the nutrients that we need. Because we had a shift in our home. One of our children ended up with celiac. And so we started looking at our food a lot differently. And so the food quality, the nutrient density and nutritional value was one of the first things that made us start to transition our food buying habits. And then we started looking into the other impacts: food mileage, freshness of the food, because that was easy to find, because you lose so much freshness in your food in the transport that also led into the food transportation miles. And then when COVID hit, for me personally, that's when the whole world got exposed to the food supply chain and the weakness that we have as a food supply chain. The fact that because our food supply chain is so complex, because we're relying on so many inputs from all over the world, not just to eat, but also to fertilize the soil if you're doing chemical agriculture, which a lot of our food is still done, and we can't have that collapse. It has to be, any transitions need to be done over time. But all of that comes from outside of our country. It's all imported. The vast majority of what we use to feed ourselves comes from other countries. So now the food miles makes more sense, and we start valuing more than just the nutrient density. Now it's food security. That's why we raise our own chickens. That's why we now have our own pigs. And I know not everybody can do that. If you can't do that, do what you can. Grow a garden. That's why we've partnered with different people. So From the Farm, for those of you guys who don't know, if you're new here, we built a platform called From the Farm, and the vision is to be the Airbnb of food. In other words, you can go to From the Farm, and we're up and live now. It's fromthefarm.org. We're still onboarding producers. It's a process. But you can go onto From the Farm and buy directly from the producers. And in fact, you can shop multiple producers. In the future, we'll have more variety on there, and check out one time in a single cart experience and have it either delivered to your house or picked up if you're close to that producer. So the vision behind that is to build a platform that exists for consumers and producers to do business, that us as the company doesn't look at that as the financial, the profitability model. That is designed just to serve the producers on that side. Where From the Farm needs to make a profit is through affiliate partnerships. We find other groups of people doing major impact work in their own space, and we help connect, right? It's affiliates. We're gonna help you guys find them, and through that, there's additional value that we can afford to build this platform, while making sure the farmers and ranchers earn the majority of the food dollar. Now, when that happens, more people will start growing food because they can make a living growing food, and we can start to disperse our food supply chain. We can't just stop the loss of our existing farms and ranches. This graph here. We can't just stop here. Here doesn't work. We're in trouble where we are at here. We have to build a path forward, a path to increase the farms and ranches and homesteads in our country. And fortunately, there's this massive movement towards new homesteaders across the nation, and that's going to be necessary. It's like we see the homesteader movement as like the victory gardens of World War II. If you haven't heard of that, in World War II, when they were trying to feed all of the troops in combat, they asked the American citizens, everybody capable, to grow their own garden. And that way they could afford to send the food over to the troops overseas and make sure they have what they need. So the homesteading movement of 2020 and forward, 2 years ago, there was something like 2 million people in that year left to go homestead. And it's just continuing to grow, and it's a phenomenal thing. So when we build a platform that says, hey, let's imagine, give me a second. Let's imagine you're somebody listening to this, and you hate the job you're in, or you're stuck in the city, and you're wishing you could get out of there. And your social media feed has me and all these other homesteaders and farmers and ranchers, and that's what you watch. And you're trying to get a few chickens so that then you can convince your husband to then get some goats, to then get 5 acres, to then get a dairy cow to build up. One of the things that will help get there is if we can help on the financial side. If the demand for local food increases so much so that we need more food growers, this is your pathway out of the cubicle. And you can say, oh man, there's this thing called From the Farm, just like Airbnb did, that if we had a little bit of extra food to sell, we could list it on there, and there are people waiting for it. We're trying to help make that process simpler, because there's so much to do in farming and food production that to then take on the sales and the marketing and the logistics and all the other added things can be daunting. So we're trying to help people take that little step forward. Somebody on Instagram said, I just bought 22 acres in Gonzales County, Texas, 1 hour from downtown Austin and 1.5 hours from both Houston and San Antonio. Need to start up a family farm. Man, if you knew how valuable the spot you were in, you'd be working towards that right now. You know, I think one of the best well, I don't think. I went to a conference in Denver a couple of weeks ago, and there was $20 billion of capital in there looking for ways to invest in food. Food is going to be the gold rush in the near future because we are a net importer. So if you've got an opportunity like that, I think now's the time to do it. So just to check in, this is live. So if you have any thoughts or questions, go ahead and comment. At least if you're watching it live, you might be watching the recording, but it is currently Sunday, October 27th, 4:17 Mountain Daylight. So if you're here with me now, any platform you're watching this on, if you comment, I'll see it and I can respond to it and answer any questions. So anyway, so we're working on building this new food system. So some of the things you can do is grow your own garden. I'm going to share this link here real quick. Not a link, but this pop-up. That is small. Let me make it larger. So one of those people, I met the owners of this company personally. They're out of Utah. They're phenomenal. I bought their seeds a couple of years ago before From the Farm was even moving on. And so I'm a user first, and ran into them at the Modern Homesteading Conference, had a great conversation. And so now they're one of our affiliate partners. So if you're looking to grow food, I would start with Survival Seed guys. They are heirloom seeds, non-hybrid, non-GMO, proven varieties. So this is a great partner that if you're looking to grow seeds, check those guys out. We will end up having a link for them on our website, but right now I just want to send you to them because we're not ready yet, and I don't want them to wait if you want to support them. A couple more comments. 100 gallon per minute rated well. Geez, you landed an awesome property. So I can irrigate if needed. Congratulations. I wish you could help with transportation to other states. Love beef, pork from Utah and California. Our producers, most of our producers on From the Farm are shipping. So I'm pretty excited about this. It's a proud moment for us. I might be able to add it and share the image, but From the Farm has officially reached the ability that you can buy from any one of our producers anywhere in the country. Oh, I found it. Let me see if I can throw it up here. Anywhere in the country and get it to you within 2-day ground. That was our first benchmark. Shipping gets expensive for the consumer and the producer. So the goal was to get enough producers on our platform to where no matter where you were buying from, some food products would be coming within 1 day or 1 or 2 day ground. Our next goal is a producer in every state. We're a little shy up here in the Northeast, but we're well on our way. Of the producers you see here, where there's 53 of them, we have 225 in the back office at some level of sign up that we're working to get a hold of. But so we're starting to connect people, and that's what has to happen. Again, we can't just stop. We can't sustain where we're at. We need to find a way to bring this back up, and that's what we're committed to doing here. Now, there's also other amazing people doing things like that. So the other person I want to share with you guys, let's see if I can go into this right here. Give me 1 second. We are doing this live. So Food Forest Abundance is another partner. I am going to be using those guys here. They've done over 800 food forests across the globe. I had a chance to talk to the founder here, Jim, and I'm looking forward to doing this on my property in up here in Cody. So what they do is, depending on the size of land you have, you pick the size 0 to a quarter acre, quarter to 1 acre, 1 acre to 3 acre, or you can go bigger. And they design a whole layout for you so that the trees that you should use, the food producing trees, the shrubbery, all the things that produce food, companion plants for your growing zone, and they help you put it together so that it's a low maintenance project. As busy as we are at From the Farm, I want my own food abundance. I've got a little 7.5 acres here in Cody, Wyoming. And so I want to grow my own food forest, but I'm traveling so much, I don't have the capacity to manage it. Right. So we're doing what we can. We've got our, so this is a little bit of kind of what it looks like. I mean, I'm really excited to use these guys. So we're excited to partner with them. We've had a few phone calls, and, let me just tell you, God's been driving this mission the whole time, and it's amazing and quite a miracle, the people that we're meeting and getting in contact with that are doing different things in their own communities around the country. Oh man, I'm sorry you guys didn't have audio. Check out Food Forest Abundance, and you'll be able to look into them there. But yeah, that sucks. So anyway, all these people all across the country working on different methods to help our food supply chain. And the only people that are in the way are the politicians. That's it. That's why this election season is crucial. So building local food resilience, building local food economies. I had the pleasure of attending a small dinner here in Cody, Wyoming the other night with some incredible people. Eat Wyoming is the name of that organization. Eat Wyoming is working on building a network of food sovereignty and food abundance throughout the state of Wyoming. And I was really excited to kind of be a part of what they were doing. They had a dinner that was catered by a local, and that local just did a phenomenal job. I mean, the food was all locally grown, and they crushed it. It was so good. So there's these local food hubs all over the country that are working on different things to help people connect. So this is the way, man. This is how we do it. So they want to oppress us citizens. I am absolutely in that camp. I think there's some funny business going on. So anyway, I want to share a couple of things with you guys. So we want to give you an update on our crowdfunding. So, in order to change the food supply chain, it takes a lot of work, and that's what From the Farm is doing. And we're also committed that we're never going to grow this thing and sell it so a big food corporation can snatch it up and bastardize it. We're not doing that. So it makes it a little tricky to raise money to build a food platform. So what we wanted to do, a lot of times, for a long time, people are asking how they could get involved. And I didn't want to just do a t-shirt or a hat or a mug. We know this has the potential to be a profitable business with our partnerships. And so we wanted the citizens who back it to participate in that. And so we're doing what's called a rev share. So if you invest on WeFunder, you'll get a 2.5x return on your investment if you invest before we hit the first 250,000. After that, it'll be a 2x return on anything you put in, and you can do a minimum of $100. So anybody can get involved if you feel like this is something that you want to be a part of and benefit from as we grow. That's paid back. The details are on the WeFunder. I'm not going to go into it here, but that's paid back annually at a percentage of net, and you'll get that over time. So all the details are on wefunder.com. But I wanted to share a couple of the comments from some of the people that are backing us, because one of the things that's exciting for us is to hear what people have to say. The people that are investing in From the Farm are just like us. If you're sitting here listening, you care about your food supply chain. You're trying to find a way to make it better for your family, to either be more resilient on your own, to or to support local. Maybe you're too busy and you have the resources and you just want to buy local, and you want to help build that food supply chain. Investing in From the Farm is going to help us do that. So one of the things that we're going to do is, after the first of the year, anybody that's invested, if you're at least $250 or more invested, we're going to host a monthly Zoom and give you all the behind the scenes of what we're working on, where our resources are going, the resources that you guys invested in, essentially just kind of let you know how we're doing all this, how it's going. So anyway, with that, y'all, I think I'm going to cut out here. I've been doing quite a bit of work here at the house on the homestead. Right now we're working on our stairs. So I was literally installing these just before we got on the call. So this has been a lot of work. So while building From the Farm, we've also been building our house, and we're pretty excited about how it's coming along. So with that, thanks for joining me. Thanks for being a part of the conversation. Let me just make sure I've answered. Is it like a co-op? You could kind of see it as that. WeFunder.com/From the Farm, or if you go to FromTheFarm.org, you'll be able to see the link there to go to the WeFunder page. But WeFunder.com/From the Farm is how you find it. You could consider From the Farm like a co-op, but I mean, we really just trying to help people shake each other's hands and do business together. And the technology helps simplify that process, so the farmers and ranchers can spend more time farming than they have to on the logistics side. So I just want healthy food too. Thank you. I know you already invested. I appreciate that. Man, you guys are so great. Anyway, with that, I'm going to roll you out with our campaign video. I appreciate y'all being here. Have a great night.
Showed us anything, it's how fragile our food supply chain really is.
I would hear the news talking about empty store shelves in the city, no meat. But yet I'm driving through the country and I see cattle standing in the field that a customer could buy. My name's AJ Richards, raised in St. George, Utah. My family are 5 generations of ranchers.
I'm Brooke Ants. Today it can be incredibly difficult to be a farmer or rancher, even for people that have been doing it generationally. It's not because of the work, but it's actually pressures from the big 4.
4 companies control 85% of our food supply chain. And in many cases, it's very clear that they're buying off politicians.
And if North Korea or China's Great Leap Forward have taught us anything, a centralized food supply can accidentally or intentionally kill a lot of people. Luckily, it's not all doom and gloom.
What's missing is a competitive marketplace. So I'm thinking about these unsold cows, and I just had this aha moment. What if somebody built a website similar to Airbnb, but instead of short-term rentals, it highlighted and connected you with local farmers and ranchers so that we could actually go right to the producer?
So FromTheFarm.org is a digital farmers market connecting you, the customer, with local farmers and ranchers who produce meat, vegetables, fruit, and dairy. Plus, you can pick it up locally, and many producers even have shipping options.
The most important value of decentralization is food sovereignty. The ability for you as a sovereign individual to have the right to buy your food and source it where you choose. If you know the name of the producer growing it, you have now insulated yourself from not having it, like when the store shelves were empty.
We, the people, can take back control of our food. Invest in your family, invest in From the Farm.
From the Farm helps families access food with more nutrition than what you're going to find at the grocery store.
Studies have shown repeatedly that locally farmed produce is more nutritionally rich than factory farmed food. It just is. You can't beat it.
Because these small family farmers and ranchers are growing it how they were taught by their grandparents and great-grandparents, which is quality over quantity, because they're putting their personal name on that product, not hidden behind some massive corporate logo.
Hormones, performance-enhancing drugs, and chemical treatments, including carbon monoxide, are just some of the things these corporations do to increase profits and improve shelf life, not your life.
Meanwhile, up to 40% of your meat's nutritional value is lost in the process. There's also the environmental impact from all the mileage your food racks up. Apples, 1,556 miles. Lettuce, 2,055 miles. And beef, a staggering 2,874 miles, all resulting in unnecessary pollution across the country. But when you buy from local growers, these numbers turn into these numbers.
Not only is shopping with From the Farm decreasing pollution and reclaiming your food sovereignty, but you are also getting a superior product. Parallel food economies, or buying local, is the future of food.
I was actually the first person to invest in From the Farm. I was 100% all in. I've started businesses, I've had some really cool opportunities in the entertainment industry and the sporting world, but getting healthy food into more Americans' hands is more important than anything I've ever done.
So right now, we've assembled our team. We've got some amazing people on board to execute and make this happen. Like Isaac Barlow, who knows how to scale tech companies in the blue-collar space because he's done it before. Now we're in the process of raising the funding from you guys to help us scale this to the next level. We can't do this alone. We need the strength of the American people behind us. Help us build a new food system that combines the wisdom of the past with the technology of the future. Investing in From the Farm isn't just a financial decision, it's an investment in our future, our small family farms, and our food sovereignty. Invest today.